money. They want to make sure that your practices are going to be ethical and that you are going to be putting the patients that you're serving first in everything you do. So at that time, we began crafting these policies, and then part of the mandate also would be that we train our staff. So this is going to be something every year that we're going to go over to make sure that everyone's aware of these policies that we've crafted, because you are held responsible to them. Wow, that is very small. So these topics of corporate responsibility and ethics are going to cover a wide array of topics. It's everything from our business, our marketing, our HR, contracts to fraud, waste, and abuse. It's going to govern all aspects of our business practices and service delivery. At the heart of this document is going to be our code of ethics. If you go into your employee handbook, which is also available on the shared drive in the policies and procedures folder, on page 6, we have a summary of this code of ethics and a really nice intro. And so as you guys all know, our mission statement, this really summarizes that the point of these ethics is that in order to meet our mission, we have to ensure that our employees, our volunteers, our board members are all displaying the characteristics that we're trying to instill in our patients and students and interns, these Christ-like characteristics that we believe are paramount to recovery. So that is the foundation of why these things exist. Also, we report to a wide array of stakeholders. So, we have CARD, we work with government agencies, we work with churches, we work with local advocacy groups. So it's always really important that we are ethical in all of our practices. So once again, this is government affairs with all of our employees, board members. Even though the interns are not employees, we want them to follow these as well in addition to volunteers. So there are some basic things that we've gone over at other times. Obviously that we do prohibit discrimination against anyone based off of any of the protected classes under the U.S. government. The same would go for harassment. We strive to offer a safe workplace environment here. So we do prohibit harassment of any individual in protected classes. Confidentiality. Nathan went over our confidentiality training last month. So this is just a little summary of that again. As you know, patient, student, intern records, those things are protected if someone is or was involved in any of our services. Additionally, you have to make sure that if you are talking to other staff about those things here, that it's on a need-to-know basis. So, someone in finance doesn't need to know that so-and-so is going to a doctor's appointment for a hernia or something like that. It would be someone else who needs to know that information. We also need to ensure that everyone is protecting the privacy and confidentiality of our business practices. That's going to include documents, things on our computer software, any employee, donor, or supporter records. Those things are also protected by confidentiality. And then obviously you can't leave any of these sorts of documents laying around. This can be something we sometimes struggle with. So it's really important that if you are printing out documents, that you're going and picking them up at the printers as soon as possible. We shouldn't be seeing documents laying around with anyone's personal information on there when they're entering the program, when they're exiting, things like that, that most staff really should not have any access to. This is a new one, patient-student-intern relationships. So when we updated the employee handbook in April, I went into some great detail to try and help define what these relationships look like. So if you can just think, this is always going to come back to the fact that as employees, we are mentors. We are Christian mentors to anyone who's involved in our services. Some of you have licenses or certifications that are also going to ethically bind you in terms of your relationships. But overall, we need to ensure that everyone is always having that mentor-type relationship and not crossing any ethical boundaries. So one thing would be that you can't have intimate relationships with any of our previous patients or students for a period of 2 years. If someone goes through our internship program and becomes a staff member, then that would be different because then they're staff, we treat them like staff. Something else we added would be that we can't have staff engaging in private social media conversations with members of the opposite sex for a period of 1 year after review. And that just all goes back to ethics and the fact that we are service providers and we have to hold those duties sacred. And then once again, if you have a license or a certification and you're in direct care, you can't engage in any of those type of relationships at all. Something else we updated this year was our use of alcohol, tobacco, and illegal drugs policy. So obviously, you know, you can't bring any of that stuff on the property. If you are engaging in illegal drugs or anything like that, that could be cause for termination. If you're bringing it on the property, that could be cause for termination. Something we needed to specify was that if you are in the recovery process, you need to hold true to the recovery principles, which are going to state that you need to abstain from any of those addictive substances. So if you want more information on that, you can go into the employee handbook, and I lay it all out in there, and I'm available for more follow-up conversation. Once again, this is just a summary, but this is going back to, once again, it's always going back to the fact that we're mentors. So if you're in recovery and you relapse, how can we have you be a mentor to these students who are going to have more recovery time? So we need everyone to maintain their sobriety if they're in the recovery process. Conflicts of interest, that's in the employee handbook as well. Basically, you always need to ensure that you're putting the needs of our patients and students above your personal needs. Something else we added was public conduct that's detrimental to the mission of the organization. Excuse me. So what this means is that as a Christian ministry and organization, we have expectations for how our employees act. And while we're not getting into your personal lives, if something is to come to our attention, like you're going out and getting drunk at a bar repeatedly, that is in direct conflict with the mission of the organization and the behaviors that we expect of our employees. So it talks about some of those things. There's more details in the handbook. Obviously, you know, lewd behavior, criminal activity, things like that in any organization can put your employment at risk. And the other thing we added was a respect for religious principles. So it's important that everyone understands we are a Christian ministry, and you have to respect that we're a Christian ministry. We have certain policies in place, and we run the Christian aspect of our program in a certain way. And as an employee, you have to respect how that program is run, and you shouldn't be bad-mouthing the program or saying, well, that's not what I believe, and things like that. We all have to be mission-minded and supporting the Christian focus of that program. So in general, there's a long list of things, and I'm not going to read from the slides, but it's all pretty basic, and it's going to repeat throughout all of the aspects of our business again. So there are some pretty standard things that, you know, we need to treat everyone with dignity and respect. We should be trustworthy in the services we're offering. We should recognize the cultural, racial, and ethnic importance of human beings. Once again, using language that's respectful. Obviously, you should not be involved in any misconduct or falsifying of records or misusing funds of the organization. When it comes to our specific business practices, we would expect that our employees who are interfacing with other agencies would always act in a professional manner when they're representing the organization. Everyone should be honest and forthright in their relationships. You know, if you have a relationship with someone, you can't be offering services to them. Or if you have a relationship, a personal relationship with an agency we're about to do business with, you know, those things you have to let us know, because agencies like CARP and CCBH take that stuff very seriously. When it comes to our marketing, once again, you have to give preference to the mission of the organization over your personal interests. We have to ensure that no one's using our business practices, marketing strategies, or anything like that for their personal gain instead of the organization's gain. So when you become an employee here, you obviously get to know a lot of information about how the business operates. You know, you learn, depending on your department, you learn about specifics about contracts or organizations we work with or donors, and it would be